Okay, it's 8 o'clock. We'll start the meeting. Please rise and say a pledge. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
There's a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
I would like to see if we could clarify that motion on
Okay.
the agenda items.
Okay.
Last item. I think to clarify, the intent of that was to make sure that we don't get surprised on what we're paying, spending taxpayer dollars on. More so for projects like Roger has coming up today, or something to that effect. It wasn't to limit the items to be placed on agenda or amending the agenda, because we still have the ability to do that coming up here shortly. It was the intent to make sure that if there's a project coming up or we need to make a decision on purchasing something, that we have that ahead of time. And I think that Commissioner Volk, you made that motion. Wasn't that what you had initially thought as well?
When I made the motion, I guess that's what I was thinking. It was when we spend money or if there needs to be something to research. I mean, I don't know if you guys think different, but for instance, let's say Roger, I'm going to use this example because it's on here. If he was just to bring bids in today and we didn't have the information prior to look at, how do we make a motion and try to pass a motion if you don't know what's out there? You know?
Gotcha. Yep.
I mean, if it's an informational thing, I don't know if that would be. If it's just something that we're bringing to put on the agenda for information or something that we would table, we're not voting on to give out money. But if that's not what I think it should be, I mean, we can.
No, that's fine.
Always make it so
it
that
should be clarified.
just so that we're all under the same understanding.
So you'd like that a correction put in the minutes?
Correct. I think that would be the cleanest way to do it, if we could.
Okay.
Unless there's objections from other commissioners.
No, I amend my motion to add the clarification to the motion from the last meeting to include the clarification. Can you wordsmith that into?
Candy, your opinion?
Then I would like to see a motion made today to have a deadline set for things added to the agenda so that I don't have to continuously keep changing it.
Go ahead, Kevin. Right. And there's things that, it's like the bid or the contract for the emergency electrical work that came yesterday. So there was really, it got put in the packet, but it wasn't on the agenda. I mean, there are going to be cases where you just can't avoid that, but I think it'd be good for the commission to set an example and try and have your stuff in. I mean, there is stuff that I realize can't. I mean, just the timing, if you find something out and it's past the deadline, but it has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a good faith effort,
Right.
I guess.
So
I understand Candy's reasoning of wanting the agenda done. I'll be honest with you, if I was to put a meeting together and it's coming to, okay, Tuesday, there's gotta be some time frame. Because let's say you have to send out emails, so I'm not even using this meeting as an example. You can use even like if Jeff was to send out something to his water stuff. There's gotta be some kind of deadline because otherwise you're just gonna constantly have this agenda running and running and running, and pretty soon it runs away on you.
Right.
You know,
You know, like Jeff said,
I don't know how we word it or how we put it so that it runs smooth for all of us and people that are trying to bring things to the agenda.
and we can amend the agenda right here, right now too. So I mean, that's, so back to the business at hand here. We have a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting with the clarification. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I
I think we'll move that. Well, let's take care of that now. I don't know how you want to word it, to be honest.
So any agenda item that requires expenditures or research by the commission must be in by,
Okay, I'm not sure that's different than what we got.
yeah,
The thing of it is, for instance, like Kevin was bringing up, if he has to bring something in and add it to the agenda when we're in here. I mean, if that's for instance, the bill, it's something that we already talked about, right? Or with electrical, it's something that we already have talked about. So you're not getting blindsided.
Right.
It's not a brand new item.
Right, because we've already voted to build the shed. So.
Exactly. So all he's doing is, if that was something that he brought in here, hey, I need to put on the agenda because I'm having this to be paid. That is something totally different because we already have discussed it. But if it's something that is going to get put on that we need to discuss, you could put it on the agenda, but then it probably shouldn't be voted on to pay anything. You would table it, and then the next time it would. That way, it's there.
Okay.
I mean, there's ways that we could work this, right? I mean, if it's something.
Well, let's just have a gentleman's agreement that we're gonna, as far as the commissioners go, if there's something we need on the, just try and have the same deadline as everything else, understanding that if something comes up, it can still be placed on the agenda. Is that, I think we're all adults here. We can handle that. Try and place ourselves under the same. Okay. Approval of the bills.
so moved.
There's a motion to approve the bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on the bills? All in favor of approving the bill, say aye.
I
All opposed, say nay.
Should be roll call, I think.
Oh.
German.
Yes, I always forget that. I don't know why you don't put that on the agenda roll call.
I'm going to.
Roll call, please.
I'm writing it right now. Hodis,
Aye.
Frith,
I
Volk,
Aye.
Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Gessner.
Aye. Motion to approve the financial reports.
So moved.
Second.
There's motion and a second to approve the financial reports. Is there any discussion? Anybody got any questions?
That's roll call.
Yep, I was just gonna say roll call, please.
Wilhelmie.
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Hodis,
Aye.
Frith,
I
Gessner.
Aye. Treasurer's checks.
move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the treasurer's checks. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Frith,
I
Hodis,
Aye.
Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Bulk,
Aye.
Gessner.
Aye. Motion carried. Approval of the agenda. Any additions? Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Roger.
Morning. You guys all good? Just-
Yep.
Okay.
Turn the,
On the right now.
turn the microphone on.
Flip it over. There's a button on the bottom.
On the right now. Call.
On the right-hand column are the lower of the two estimates where I've managed to get two estimates. So, there's really no change from the initial, estimates I'd gotten back in October. So other than the, painting, which I knew was gonna come in low. So, for tile, I had talked to Thompson's and it'd been over a month and I still hadn't gotten an estimate. And with plumbing, talked to Matthew Mack, he had about 2 months and still hadn't given me an estimate. So I wanted to get going on this. So, so the 72,655.11, I guess that's about what, like I said, the original was going to be. We knew. So
Roger, do you know what the difference between the painting estimates were since they were so different?
that's a very good question. I mean, I've got, you should have gotten also copies of the
Yeah.
painting estimates. I mean, they read the same.
Yeah,
I
didn't see any.
no,
Didn't,
no,
but either one was proposing. so
right.
it was just a
No,
$6,000 difference was
I,
startling.
a lot.
So,
Yeah. I can't really answer that other than one seemed to think they wanted a lot more than the other.
I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve the low bids for the bathroom remodel on the 3rd floor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? And you'll just make sure that you coordinate with the court so we don't have any mishaps there.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion and second to approve the bids for the 3rd floor bathroom remodel. Any other discussion? This is just approval for a bid, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Roger.
Thanks.
Susie, come on down. Good.
Well, good morning. Susie Kenner with the Devil's Lake Chamber and Tourism. And because we collect county restaurant and lodging tax, I come through once a year just to give you a little bit of an update of what we've been up to, where we're going and where we're heading. So just want to point out, we don't have 2024 numbers yet from the state tourism department, but just going off 2023, just want to mention the tourism impact in the community is just under $61 million in economic direct spending to the community. So we take pride in that. And also want to mention our strategic plan is in there. We pulled together a 3-year strategic plan 3 years ago. So we're on our last year right now, but just a couple of quick updates on that. We've incorporated monthly email marketing now to all of our visitors that are interested in getting more information. And we have a list of about 2,500 people that we're sending to on a monthly basis. We've made improvements on our Bridgestone Park project with an activation event this winter with our hometown holiday celebration. We are working through some downtown alleyway lighting and murals right now with Ottertail to try and enhance some of one of the alleyways to see how that can make some improvements, along with lighting and safety measures, and just kind of make it a fun atmosphere instead of everybody kind of dreading that area. It'll be right off of Bridgestone Park, so we're hoping that we can incorporate some holiday things in with that as well. We're working on some meeting space updates on our website at devilslakend.com. Now that we have more meeting space that we can use to entice people to come here with meetings. So this summer we'll be working through, or spring actually, with some of those different areas like the Ramsey County Event Center, Woodland Resort, even out at East Bay, to try and pull some more information on our website for meetings here in the area. And we've enhanced the workforce experience information on our website through our web grant that we've received. And that should be coming out. We get that in our hands here in the middle of April. And then we'll work to put more information on that to entice people to move and live and work here. Speaking of that grant, I'm not sure if I've reported on it or not, but the Chamber of Commerce this year, through the Department of Commerce, through the state, received $490,000 for our workforce initiative. So half of that went with our retention program at the schools, and we have contracted Ann Pollard to come in and work with all of the students. So we've had a career fair. We just held our first ever summer job fair, and I think we had 42 businesses that took part in that. So really using that to try and enhance some of those hospitality businesses that we have in the community, anywhere from our hotels, resorts, restaurants, to try and get some of those workers in for the summertime. And we've been also working with them to try and work through some different ways that they can work with the students. You know, they might be in sports, they might have other things going on, but if we can work through some of those flex schedules, and you know, you might be looking for one part-time, but maybe you want to hire two so you can work through their schedules. So we've been working through some different items like that. And then the other part of that grant is a workforce attraction grant. And so we've really partnered with tourism on that side of things. We're working on a new brand right now with Odney Advertising to push that out. We're working on a media buy this week that will have built anywhere from billboards to digital to social to print ads. And we're really targeting some of those areas where people we know are looking at our website and coming to Devil's Lake through some different areas through North Dakota tourism. So we know we actually have boots in the ground. So for instance, the Minneapolis St. Cloud area is a great market for us. So we'll be promoting to those areas. And then we'll have billboards in town too over the summer that say, hey, you came to play here, why don't you stay? And so we're just working through some of that right now. Just want to point out, these are not our projects by any means, but just want to point out the strides that tourism has taken in the last couple of years here in the Lake region. We now have the Ramsey County Event Center, the shores at Woodland Resort. We had the expansion at the Devil's Lake Regional Airport, and we'll now this summer have direct flights to and from Denver. The Dockside Entertainment Center, there's been a big expansion with Bobbers out at Woodland Resort. We've had some new shopping experiences in downtown Devil's Lake, and there's work being done at Ski Jump Hill. So I just want to point that out because I think we as a community should be really proud of what everybody has been doing in the area to enhance tourism. And we're really excited to partner and work with all of these entities to keep that momentum going. We have partnered with Dockside Entertainment Center this year to provide coupons to different events, activities, and organizations that are coming in. Mainly that we started with the sporting events. So for instance, if the Blue Line Club was hosting a hockey tournament over the weekend, or the high school was bringing in basketball in January overnight, we put coupons inside with Dockside Entertainment to entice them to come and utilize the facility. And that's growing. Excuse me. We've also heard that the DLA has been offering the use of the simulators and bowling as well to try and enhance that. So just working through some different ways that we can entice some of those sporting events to continue to come here. Next year, we're going to work with the park board to see if we can give coupons for the concession stand and just try and boost some of those packets that all the kids are getting to try and make them say they want to come to Devil's Lake instead of just, oh, we have to go to Devil's Lake for the weekend. So just different things like that. One of the big projects we're working on this winter and spring is the Wheelchairs and Walleyes project. We've spearheaded that through the Lake Access Committee. And if you guys know, the Lake Access Committee is the county, the city, and the park board, and the chamber is the managing entity. And so we found out about this 501c project, the Wheelchairs and Walleyes, and we really hit the ground running on that to try and secure the funding to make that happen. Just found out yesterday. Yesterday was a really good day. Found out we got the Garrison Diversion Grant for a little over $43,000 and the DLYA grant for $12,500 to add to the project. And with that Garrison Diversion project, well, besides the wheelchair lift platform and the wheelchair lift to get people into the boats, which will be out at Lakewood Park this spring, we'll be able to enhance the bathrooms as well. And so they will have a remodel out at Lakewood Park, which they'll be fully ADA compliant, and both men's and women's bathrooms will have an adult changing table inside as well. So it's an area that can be used if you are boating, but yet if somebody wants to go and enjoy the park with their children or just want to go out as a family, it's an area that they will be able to utilize and have full functions for their family. So really excited about that project. The bathrooms will be sometime this summer, but the wheelchair project is slated to be done by June 8th. And so you'll get information and invite you all to attend. We'll have a dedication dedication ceremony in the morning. And then pro anglers will be on hand, and they'll take some of the kids fishing for the day. And then we'll have a children's mobility awareness festival in the afternoon on June 8th. So again, I would invite all of you to attend. I think it's going to be a superb project. It's one of 3 that will be slated here in North Dakota, and the only one as of right now on the eastern side of the lake. So I'm excited about that, and we'll share more information as we get that. We've hosted a lot of media personalities this year already, including Ducks Unlimited, Delta Waterfall. We've had a couple of travel influencers here through North Dakota Tourism, and we've hosted a couple of media events, one last summer and again this winter. So excited to be able to invite media from all over the United States really to come in and enjoy. We're working with the Outdoor Writer Association here in May to host another one out at Woodland Resort. And then just a couple of notes. Usually I like to give you our Google Analytics, and that really changed here back in July. They don't do the reporting like they used to. And so some of the information is a little bit different, and we don't get as much information as we used to. That's all laid out on page 15 if you're interested. But I can tell you that our website at devilslakeindy.com had over 334,000 page views this past year in 2024. So we're really trying to push that out to the communities, especially with our chamber membership, using that member portal that all of our members have to put more information out there and to utilize that website for their own interest in their own goods. And we've also been working with North Dakota Tourism on some of their arrival list data. And that means it's kind of scary, but we track people that are actually coming into the area for more than just a couple of hours. And then we can look back and see where they're coming from. And I can tell you that our top markets are the Fargo Valley City, Minot, Bismarck, Dickinson, and then that Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester area. And Sioux Falls, South Dakota is actually picking up with some interest coming here as well. And I have been told with working with them that she's pretty sure that Devil's Lake is the only area in the state that gets as much traffic in January that we get in July. So kudos to what we have going here in our winter months. Not everybody can say that they have as much winter traffic. And then 2025, we've really pulled together an aggressive marketing budget. Every once in a while, we'll tailor it back and be a little bit more conservative. And this year we went full bore and pulled together an aggressive one. And those are listed on page 18 if you're interested in looking at what we do. And page 20 outlines our media spend. And just like to showcase, that we are well-rounded in our marketing efforts. We don't, you could say, put all of our eggs in one basket. We try and hit all of the different markets to try and hit all of the people, because we know different demographics, different ages are doing things differently, whether they're looking online, digital media, Television is still big for us here with the outdoor market. And then we've also hosted, just so you know, Crappie Chronicles, Dialed Up Angling, another North Dakota tourism influencer, and the Four Outdoorsman Radio were here this winter to produce shows, and we hit 3 sport and travel shows. And we've also worked with Jason Mitchell to produce a new commercial that will be airing on the outdoor networks next year. And we have filmed one of the 3 video shoots that we're working with Rawfish Creative Group to pull those videos together. We're working with 4 different families in the community to showcase how great it is to live here. So we're separating those into 3 distinct areas, and we got the winter shoot out of the way. We've made great strides with the Spirit Lake Casino as well as a partner of ours. So they let us into the Tiger Lily Gold concert and took some different media and images and video, and I'm excited to showcase all of those. So other than that, I don't want to bore you with any details on numbers. You have all the information, but I would gladly answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody got any questions for Susie? I know you're busy over there.
Well, we have a busy team. We have a great team. Yeah. Yeah.
And that wheelchairs and walleyes, that's going to be a pretty good deal, I think.
Yeah. And you know, it's probably the best project that I have never seen so many entities, businesses, people in the community step up. And I mean, sometimes my phone rings and they say, how can I give you money? You know, and that's quite a feat. So we have a great community here, and can't say more about them.
Anything else for Susie? Appreciate you stopping in.
Yes, you bet. Did you want me to bring up my ask about the planning and zoning committee, or do you want to do that later?
I think we'll invite you to a planning and zoning meeting.
Okay, perfect. Nope, that sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
John's back there. Yep, there he is.
Good morning. Update on the water board meeting. We just finished up our meeting here about 20 minutes ago, and the update one would be that we approved a culvert to be replaced on Starkweather Coulee, and Kevin will go into the size of that. The Lawton Coulee is the meeting, I believe, is set for April 15th at 6 o'clock during your meeting, and we have Stacy will be sending you information, including the map of the basin, the assessment area, the path of the clean out proposed, and what we've come up with. It looks like it'll be 3 to 4 years to pay back the assessment.
Okay.
We would borrow the money from Western State Bank. They have offered us around a 6% interest rate. So any questions on the proposed lot right now until you have the information in front of you? April 15th during your next regular meeting. As of this point, I have not any opposition to the project, with the exception of the people around the lake, and they would not be in the assessment area. Any questions on a snag and clear, just kind of preliminary?
What kind of timeline would you be looking at to start that project once the approval is done?
If the approval is done, we would probably try to start this spring.
And how long? Is that several years as you or
No, it would be done in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
The work would be done, and then that's why we'd have to borrow the money, because we couldn't take and pay it off as the assessment came in.
Okay.
But the assessment is 50 cents an acre for the benefited acres that are in that one map that you'll get. And then if it's got a wildlife easement, then you take 50% of those acres. So it's actually 25 cents an acre. That's just a quick overview of it. Channel A, we discussed again, and we received back from legal that in order to take and do these maintenance, we would be best off to take and use the original assessment map. There are some that were excluded, but if we were going to add them, we would have to take and have a total vote.
Hmm.
Then that would get expensive. So we were recommended to take and just use the original, and we will have to get together with Cavalier and their assessment area, and then we can move forward with those assessments. The other parts were cattail spraying, and we are looking at doing cattail spraying on the Grand Harbor assessed drain this year. And then we are going to look into what we can do on natural drains. But in a nutshell, that's basically what we discussed at our meeting this morning.
Okay.
Any questions for me? The main one is the lot and snag and clear coming up in a couple weeks here.
Looks like we're questionless.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John. Kevin, we'll jump to you.
Okay, to start off, we're starting to get into summer maintenance contracts, and there's a list there of the following townships that have theirs in. You want me to read them? It's like,
I don't think so. I don't think you need to read them.
okay, we have 4 more to add: Minnewacan, Northfield, Freshwater, and North Creel that came in since I made the list. But those need to be signed by the chairman and the auditors. So, looking for a motion to have all those summer agreements signed by those two.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to have the chairman and auditor sign the maintenance contracts. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Okay, the Greater Ramsey Water Department put in for some improvements on our water system. They want to bore underneath the county roads in 5 different sites. The permit covers all 5 sites. I did have a map to show where they're at. Everybody gets a look at that, or?
Yep.
So I guess everything looks fine to me. They're just 2-inch lines. I don't see any problem with it, but that will require a motion from the commission to allow those put lines in our right of way. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the permit for Greater Ramsey Water Department to bore in lines. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's not me, is it?
KLJ has submitted a task order for the design engineering on next year's thin lift overlay project on Ramsey 4B. That is from Doug Fridgie on that road that goes south to the Lawton Road. They've signed it already, so we just need a motion to sign our portion of it. The contract total is $71,600. Guess I don't see any issues with it. It's a per hour type of contract, so. Oh, lump sum. Glad you're here.
Is there a motion?
So
Good.
moved.
To approve the task order.
Task order contract, yep.
Second.
Any other questions, discussion? All in favor of approving the task order, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
We have a bill from the DOT for bridge inspections that were done last fall. It's for our share of the inspections. Our 20% share is $9,666.51. So I'm looking for a motion to pay the DOT for those bridge inspections.
I would move to approve. bridge inspection.
There's a motion and a second to pay $9,666.51 to the DOT for bridge inspections. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Bulk, Hodis,
All right.
Frith,
Aye.
Gessner.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, along with that DOT bill is the page again that requires us to prove where we got our match money from. And that needs a signature from the chairman and the auditor. So I'm looking for a motion to allow the chairman and the auditor to sign that local match page for the bridge inspections.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to have the chairman and auditor sign the financial proof to the DOT. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Okay, next are our results of our bid opening. I don't know if everybody's got a copy of that in front of them. But to start that off, our hot mix overlays, we got a bid in the mail that was too late to make the deadline. The deadline was March 28th at 11 o'clock. And this is postmarked March 26th. Doesn't have a time. So normally on the hot mix overlays, we accept all bids and then just take the one that's closest to the hot mix plant because we pay freight or the project we're working on. We use the best prices. So let's get things started. We need to decide, make a motion to either open this or not open it. It's from Border States Paving in Fargo.
It was postmarked 26, right?
Yep. Which was 2 days before the opening. And we schedule those openings for a time that they get the mail after they get the mail here.
And it didn't arrive until yesterday.
Correct.
Logic would say it should have been here.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah.
This one's a little different because we normally accept them all, but it's up to you guys. I mean, it's something that we need to act on before we do anything.
You got any
Being out here,
suggestions for us, Daniel?
Off the top of my head, I don't specifically regarding bidding rules and laws here in North Dakota. As a general rule in the court system, as long as something is in the mail before a deadline passes, it's considered sent or delivered upon the postmark. I don't know what the general practice is here in Ramsey County specifically.
Candy, if that was a ballot, how would that be handled?
You go by the postmark date.
Since I've been here, we've handled it both ways, and it depends on the bid normally. I mean, if it's a competitive thing that the low bid is going to win, it has to be by the book. This is a little bit of an exception, and I hate to keep saying that, but we generally just accept all of these hot mix bids.
See which ones are where the plant's closest.
That's correct, because we pay mileage for.
Sure.
I guess to me, being out here on the edge of the universe, and Fargo doesn't, that's what the only mail sorting facility in the whole state, right? I mean, we used to get stuff from Fargo or anywhere else in 2 days, and now it can be a week, I guess my first inclination is to accept the
Because of
postmark.
the postmark.
Yeah.
my inclination either, too, but
I'd go ahead and make that a motion.
Okay, there's a motion to accept the late arriving bid at the postmark. Is there a second?
second,
Motion and a second to accept the bid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Okay. I'll start at the top of this page then. Our gravel projects. We have 3 different gravel projects this year. We got bids from Close Construction, Gowan Construction, Lakeside Construction out of Finley, and we got 1 bid from Paulson Gravel out of Mayville. On our Ramsey County and Nelson County line, there's some 2022 FEMA sites. Paulson Gravel out of Mayville was a low bid on that. Probably by $600. Should we handle each one of these individually?
I would say let's do it individually.
So I guess what I'm looking for, a motion to accept that low bid from Paulson Gravel. All their paperwork was fine.
Is there a motion to accept Paulson gravel bid for the Ramsey County, Nelson County line project?
I would so move. Second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Our second one is Ramsey County 4A up north, but in the Hamden area. There was 3 bids there. Close Construction, Gowan Construction, and Lakeside Construction for $39,000 even. Lakeside Construction out of Finley was a low bid. So looking for a motion to accept that low bid from Lakeside.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the low bid from Finley or Lakeside Construction. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Should I wait for her?
No, we can.
Okay.
Use.
Our last gravel bid is from Ramsey 9A, which is straight north of Starkweather on the gravel road that goes east and west. It's 10 miles long. That's why it's the highest bid. Close Construction, Gowan Construction, and Lakeside Construction out of Finley all bid. Lakeside Construction was a low bid at $103,750 even. So we're looking for a motion to accept that low bid from Lakeside.
So moved.
Motion and a second to accept the Lakeside Construction bid. What is it? Ramsey County 9A.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Next is our chip seal project, which is on Ramsey 8A, straight east of Webster, and then also all the roads in the Devil's Lake area, like Ramsey County 1, Walleye Drive, Military Road, Terminal Road. 3 bids there from Aztec out of St. Cloud, Bituminous Paving out of Ortonville, and Morris Seal Coat out of Morris, Minnesota. Morris Seal Coat has been doing our chip sealing for probably the last 10 years. They were the low bid at $469,101.80. So looking for a motion to accept that low bid from Morris Seal Coat.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the Morris. Morris Seal Coat bid. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
So next one is the hot mix overlays, which does include this bid. So I'll open it now. It doesn't require any bid bonds, any insurance papers, or any license. So there was no paperwork on the outside. Didn't need to be either. The only bid they have on here is for hot mix at the plant, and it is $78 a ton. It also says the Jamestown plant site, and then a street address. So it would be in Jamestown, this site. So Strata Corporation also put in a bid for hot bituminous applied onto the road for $198 a ton, and picked up at the plant for $110 a ton. So at this time, I just look for a motion to accept all of the bids, and then we'll use the one that benefits us the most. This way, we're tied into a price. So
So move.
Second.
Motion and second to accept all the bids with determination to apply freight, I guess, to our benefit. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
And the last one is our road oil for crack sealing. We just got one bid there from Cenovus Energy. That's who we've been getting our road oil from for the last 5 years. Their bid for MC 800 per ton was $858.90 a ton. MC 3000 is $816.30 a ton. So I'd like to entertain a motion to accept their low bid, Cenovus Energy's low bid.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the bids for road oil. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Any questions on that before we move on? We did also get quotes from 2 vendors for our culverts, and the price went down on culverts just a few cents a foot. I guess it's going down better. It's better than going up, but not a big difference from last year. A couple of invoices we got our cutting edges from RDO equipment for summer maintenance, and that invoice was for $7,863.34. So I'd like to entertain a motion to pay RDO equipment.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second to pay RDO equipment $7,863.34. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Hodis.
Aye.
Wilhelmie.
Aye.
Volk.
Aye.
Frith.
Aye.
Gessner.
Aye. Motion carried.
We also have an invoice from Butler for summer cutting edges. We're going to use 3 sets of edges from RDO and 3 sets of edges from Butler. The cost for the Butler edges are $6,376.96. The freight was the only difference there. It wasn't actual blades. So I'd like to entertain a motion to pay Butler Machinery.
So
Motion and a second. You just want to pick one of those 2. Motion and a second to pay Butler Machinery $6,376.96. Roll call, please.
Frith.
Aye.
Hodis.
Aye.
Volk.
Aye.
Wilhelmie.
aye.
Gessner.
Aye.
The last thing I have is the update on Grams Island Road. They did take that to bid now. I got a sheet from the engineering firm that says 50% of the match on the road is going to be 100. Well, this is an estimate, but $146,593.89. So they're still wondering if we want to pay our share or not. I guess they'd like to have an answer one way or the other.
And what's our share?
146,593.89. And like I said, we've got some money in. Let me look here. Prairie dog money. We got some legacy fund money. Legacy fund is 421,000. So, and we've also got some money from the 21-22 snow disaster, 85,000. So if we had to, we could find the money, but
I guess my feeling is you don't leave a road unmaintained. And since we have the money, I think we should do it. However, I think we should approve it with a stipulation that this isn't going to get approved again if you can't give us a heads up. That's what you're thinking on.
I agree.
I mean, that's
They had to know more in advance than just 6 months.
Right.
right.
Budgeting reasons.
What was that?
Budgeting reasons.
Right.
I mean, it didn't matter what, if they're using ARPA funds or, I mean, it had to be on their radar at some point.
Somebody missed something somewhere.
And they take the lead on that road. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. We do the one from Churches Ferry South, and they do this one.
Or you could stand up and say you didn't follow the proper procedure, which I think somebody just leaned into the mic to.
Well, that is my question of, is there a proper procedure here? Do we have a written agreement that you have? Have you found that?
We do have a written agreement, but neither this commission or that commission signed it. So it's unsigned.
When was that agreement written?
Ooh, maybe 15 years. I don't even know. A long time ago. Was it? A while ago.
We should probably revisit that.
Well, yeah, their state's attorney is working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, they said the same thing. We need to get this signed.
Okay. So I guess there's a third option. Say we'll sign it as soon as we get the agreement signed, or we'll agree to it as soon as this agreement is presented. It just rubs me the wrong way.
Are they being held up to get a contractor for this, or do you know they got it?
No, this bids are due April 15th. Yeah, April 15th. Okay, the 11th.
Either way,
Anyway,
they're
it's
getting
coming up.
bid.
I think it rubbed us all wrong,
No.
the way it came in. But I'm with you. I think, you don't leave a road unmaintained.
I guess to me, it'd be a lot different story if we didn't have something, that we could use to fund it with, I mean, that's the only saving grace here. Otherwise, it'd probably be a little harder to.
I think in
Go
one
with the-
set of our minutes, it reflected that we were gonna check with Parks, and I don't know if that's,
That they did, but
They
they
did.
never got an answer back. That's where that sits right now.
and Parks, they don't wanna, they like the traffic, but they don't want the pay for the road.
And I'm sure they're in the same boat. They never budgeted for it either. So
Right.
You want to take care of it today, gentlemen?
I'd go ahead and make that motion to go ahead and enter into that agreement with Benson County.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to enter into agreement with Benson County for the Grahams Island Road maintenance. Any further discussion?
I think we should probably have a little bit more specificity as to what that agreement is. Are we just paying the amount that they're looking for today? And then we'll look at that agreement once it's produced to this commission in a written form. Are we just honoring the agreement that was entered into previously verbally? I think all Kevin is looking for is that we're going to pay what they need on this current project. Is that correct?
the agreement says each pay half.
Okay.
And that's what this number reflects.
And that's half.
Yep.
So we would just be looking to honor that half that's previously agreed to, and moving forward, we need to see something in writing.
Yes.
Jeff,
So we could,
your motion.
well, we can, I think we can maybe salvage this. We can, Jeff's motion is to pay $146,593.89, correct?
Correct.
So I think we can I think we can vote on that, and then we can have another motion stating that,
We want it in writing.
that we need to
Further,
approve,
further maintenance would be 50-50.
well, to approve the document that they're working on.
Yeah.
Or,
That's how it is spelled out on that one. But like I said, no signatures.
so this motion here we have is for $146,593.89 for half of the Graham's Island Road. Everybody in agreement with that? And you second it?
I guess that's part of that. These are unit price contracts, so that number will vary some.
It's an estimate. Yeah.
Okay.
But
They haven't gotten hard bids yet either.
Okay.
So is this just a motion approving our intent to pay our half? Is that we're not actually paying anything, we're okaying our intent to cover our half?
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Is everybody but me on the same page?
It's clear as mud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll take the dollar amount out and we'll put 50% of the bill. Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
All
It's all ARPA money for them, so I don't know that answer.
all in favor say aye.
I
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Now I'd entertain a motion to inform Benson County that we need an agreement. Is that what we're at?
I mean, you can certainly make that motion or pass that resolution. I don't know that anything needs to be done at this time. If Mr. Wang is already preparing
Okay.
that agreement, it'll come back up for review.
Okay. Very good.
On that note, though, just curiosity, are all of our agreements with the other neighboring counties on the up and up?
Yep, they'll decide anyway.
As long as we're on the topic.
Well, as long as we are on the topic, are those in that same 2008 timeframe?
Yeah, they're old. I don't know what year, but they're old.
Well, maybe we should,
Back when I started, so maybe even 20 years old.
maybe that's something you could get,
Sure.
you could review and see if that we need to start a process to update those.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Well, okay. Well, put that one on the top of the pile. Okay. Anything else for Kevin?
Since we're reviewing things, as far as the bidding process goes, I'm not able to find anything in the bidding laws that requires or that specifies whether postmarked bids are in or out. I think my reading is that that's really dependent on what we lay out in our call for bids.
Okay.
And so in the future, that might be best just to specify whether, it needs to be postmarked 2 days beforehand, or if it's received after this time, it doesn't matter when it's postmarked. It just needs to be cleared to the bidders so that they're all on equal footing.
That way it reads that way.
Yeah.
If someone was to come back on us, it's right here in writing.
Just something that we can refer to. We're all subject to the same rules, and there's no surprises at the end of the day. I don't think today is going to be any issue, but just in future bidding calls for bids or requests for proposals that we specify, and whatever, I guess that would be up to you to set, or if the commission wants to be involved in that, you could come back around, but has to be postmarked 1 week prior or whatever is reasonable. And who knows I mean, as Commissioner Gessner said, with mail being what it is these days, that's just kind of an arbitrary deadline that we're going to have to set one way or the other.
So this just popped into the thought process here. Is there a stipulation? I mean, does it have to be paper, or is there some, do we need to consider electronic bids at this point because that's how the world works? Or
I think because of what goes into bids and it's got to be sealed and all of those things, I don't
this still works the way it works.
well, that's a bigger conversation, and I think that would be changing way too much all at once.
We haven't started accepting electronic ones yet. They do have to have bid bond on the outside of the package. So it's
Okay. So is there a policy manual that we need to put this into? Because he's not the only one that accepts sealed bids. I'm assuming when you do vehicles or any major purchases, all our department heads go through the same process. So is there a policy manual that tells them how to do this?
no, I haven't seen one, but Century Code spells it out somewhat, but
Yeah.
Okay.
no actual policy.
But that should be delineated to all our department heads. I think that
Oh,
I know, but it should be the same through the whole county process. So do you want to nip this in the bud right now and make a motion that we accept a postmark date of, or has to be, or do I table it?
I would recommend tabling it and let Kevin look into what would be most appropriate for the industry, since he's the one that uses it most. When he comes back, if there are other departments that have different time constraints, we can take those into account at that time. But
All right.
I would give Kevin at least some time to look into it and see what he thinks might be best, since he looks at these most often.
the Century Code goes by a dollar amount. If it's X amount of dollars, then you have to do it this way. If it's under that X, then you can do it another way.
200,000.
Mm-hmm. You can call for bids if it's less than that without going through anything. And it's an estimate of 200,000.
All right. Anything else for Kevin?
We have one thing. These national plans, there's this week or next, on advertising this month and opening bids on April 29th.
Okay. Should be fine.
Yeah. We're opening for that.
Okay. Yep, that should be fine. Okay, we slammed into 9 o'clock and right past it, so we need to, what's the proper word? Recess from the regular county commission meeting into the hearing on the petition to close a portion of section line, which is in our packets. I don't remember all the details. Does this have to be read?
Yeah.
Doug, could you come on in? Mr. Golding? Yeah.
Read this. So I know what
Hi. Good morning.
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 I introduced myself last time. I'm Doug Golding. I'm representing Dan and Jean Jansen, who own property in Creel Township. And we filed a petition to close a portion of the segment of the section line. I don't know what package you've given them. They've had packages, so they have all the information.
Yep.
And it's under the North Dakota Century Code 240703, which gives the county commissioners the authority to close a segment of a section line. If you have the petition, the segment is shown on Exhibit B, which is on a USGS 7.5 minute map. And on Exhibit A to that map is a survey that was done by Dave Hoovendick, which is more of a close-up and precise look at the segment of the section line that we're asking to have closed. And that's the one that's in purple. I hope you have a color one. If you don't have a color one, I can give that to you.
We'll give Candy a minute here to pull that up.
I should have made arrangements to
Please. Is there easements on any easements as far as on this section line that would affect if we close this section line? That could put other things in harm's way.
No, there aren't. If you look at here, yeah,
Because I know some section lines have, or some things have easements on them, such as power lines and water stuff and all that.
I've looked at the abstracts on this.
I didn't see anything on it either, but I'm not the expert on it. That's why.
No, that's fine. I started on this project in January. In 2023, the Eric Herman and Jansen's went to the township and with their proposal to that they wanted to close the section line and part of the section line, and the township said, well, we need an alternate route. So on Exhibit A, there is an alternate route shown for access to the west to Lakewood Park, just in case. And this was dedicated to the public and accepted by the township in 2023. And I think I cited that in the petition. Addressing the requirements under the statute. The petitioners are adjoining landowners, and that's on Exhibit C, where in purple it shows where they are adjoining the section line. And it's not required, but the Creel Township Board and the petitioners entered a memorandum of understanding on this. The township really doesn't have authority to close a section line, but traditionally the county has asked for township input and comment on these, and we just formalize that. Here, because you've got this up, I'm really glad you have this up. I'm sorry, I have additional.
No, that's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I have additional colors here if you want to pay, if you want them. Okay, we're okay.
Yep.
Let's look at Parcel Viewer. Because I'm going to go into a justification for this, and which is basically follows the petition. Here's the elephant in the room. That residence there is the Jansen residence owned by Jean and Dan. Jean is Dan's mother. Dan and his wife Liz are here. Their house intersects the section line. And I'm not sure why the township gave them a building permit to do that. But a substantial private benefit for my clients, which I better address, is that they need to have their house not sitting on an open section line. The other public benefit of this is the justification for this. The county commissioners have to find a public benefit. And if you look at Parcel Viewer here, I don't know if I can get Vanna White to zoom out a little bit. I'm sorry, Candy. Jansen's owned initially more property here, and they've been selling additional parcels for residential development. So to the north of them, I believe Eric Herman has built a property to the north and to the west. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you here, Eric. Eric, please chip in if you want. And to the north and west, and to the east of the Jansen residence, there is a strip of land that in section 18 that extends through that pothole there. There's a parcel there that is, I understand, is currently under contract by a person who wants to build a residence, and apparently will be prohibited from doing that because the section line isn't open. So what we're really looking at for a public benefit is we want to promote the residential development with some of these larger lots that if we were in a more urban area, we would call them ranchettes. The development is kind of higher end residential, attracting the interest of young professionals in the area, like Dr. Herman. And I think Dr. Sampson lives in this, is adjacent to this, not adjoining the section line, but is in this neighborhood too. So I think it's filling a need to have these larger residential lots. And if we can close the section line to facilitate more of those sales and that type of construction, it would be good for the community. Just as an aside, after I filed this petition, I want to disclose that the Jansens have had interest from other parties to purchase land, and they are anxiously awaiting the outcome of this hearing today. I think one of the most important things we're looking at under the statute after the public benefit is whether there are alternate routes of travel. And here if you look at this, we're looking at a section line that's like 400 to 500 feet north of the military road, or is it 45th Street Northeast? So we've got a paved highway, with ditching and the whole 9 yards, 400 to 500 feet south of here. You may want to know, you may ask yourself, why is there a paved highway there? And excuse me, because I'm really into the history on this. In 1873, President Grant reserved the land that is now Camp Grafton, and it was called the Fort Totten Military Wood Reservation. Liz knows a lot about this too. So the north boundary of that federal reservation is the military road. Later, Creel came in and did the cadastral survey to lay out this township range and section lines. And so this section line is kind of is 400 to 500 feet north of that paved road. And the whole idea behind needing a public right of way on that section line is kind of done away with because of the development of a public road, substantially developed public road, 400 to 500 feet south. We've looked at historic air photos. There's no roads or trails on this line. Talking to Liz and Dan, they've lived here for 20 years. They haven't seen any public travel on this section line. There's no one farming out there who needs it to get to farm fields. The adjacent landowners still have access to their properties. They've developed it on their own. I know Dr. Herman has developed roads. In fact, we contacted all the other adjoining landowners, and they've all signed consents to the petition, which I filed with the county auditor. So they're part of the file. And as I pointed out to Commissioner Volk, on that Exhibit A, the township wanted an alternate route dedicated, and the Hermans and the Jansens went along with that and dedicated an alternate route to provide east-west access regardless of what I think of the merit of that. It was before I got involved. One of the final thing you have to address according to the statute is, will closing the section line affect drainage? And I mean, there's no ag use, there's no ag drainage, there's nobody cultivating. There's no road or roadbed, there's no ditches, there are no culverts, no drains, no farming operations. So closing this section line will not affect the drainage in that area. Let's see. So do you have any questions for me or for the Jansons? I've submitted a proposed resolution in order for your consideration as well. If you don't have any questions, I'll respectfully request the order closure of the segment of the section line.
I have a question, Doug.
Yes.
So if I'm reading what you have, what's in the notice here, you're proposing to close a segment of the section line, or are we closing the whole section?
Just the segment that's described,
Okay.
which is shown. I guess that maybe the best place to get an idea of that might be the quad map that's Exhibit B, that shows a 1,500 foot. Excuse me, I got my sections wrong. The 1,500 foot segment that on the east boundary is the section line between section 17 and section 18.
Okay.
And it extends straight west for 1,500 feet. The distance, the terminus point and the measurement of the terminus point is based on Dave Hoovendick's survey.
Okay.
So it goes up to where that alternate route ends. I'm sorry, the parcel that I was talking about that is under contract is in section 17 to the east here.
All right. Thank you.
Not section 18.
Is there anyone else who wants to testify for or against this closure?
Yes, I can.
Al Friday, been in real estate for 30 years. Most of you guys know me. Basically, what we got is when Dan Jansen built his house, mistakenly put on the section line. Okay, township's been working on it for 10 years, trying to figure out a solution for it. Dan came to me, wanted to sell some lots along the north-south road. A lot of people within the market have been asking for larger lots, like put shops, little farmettes, whether you're a hobby farm or whatever. We developed 5 lots along there. Okay. All of them have sold to people that are going to build houses. Lot 2 has a section line infringement on it. Okay. Basically running right through the middle of it. To correct both mistakes that have been made here, did an alternative, go up and around Johnson's property, come straight back down on the east side, down to County 1. Okay. Doesn't close anything to the west at all. Goes all the way over to the Creole Burke Boulevard again. That section line there stays open. All we're looking to close is the 1,500 feet going to the east, to the road going north and south. All your services are running on the north and south road. Water, sewer, electric, power, everything's on that road, gravel road running north and south. There's nothing coming through the field. Okay. There used to be a large hay field. It was a horse meadow. Right now, there's 4 or 5 people that have horses out there. Different things, and that's what they're doing, is they're just trying to build some smaller farmettes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Dave? Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else? For or against? Seeing none, Mr. Golding's asked that we approve this request, or
It would be approving the petition. The commission needs to make a finding, as Mr. Golding pointed out, of public benefit, I believe, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. The stated public benefits that the petitioners are putting forward is that the land can be developed to bring in more new residents and promote growth of Ramsey County and the Lake region. That's, I believe, more than enough public benefit to satisfy the statute. And then, and Candy, do you have the proposed resolution that Mr. Goldman submitted? Okay. Do you mind if I take a look at that?
May I approach you?
You certainly can, Mr. Golding.
Here's what I updated this morning to put some dates in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll add newspaper notice was published twice. The notice of hearing was published twice in the Devil's Lake Journal. I think on the 7th. I have the dates here. Let's see. 20th, 27th of 2025. Just because I love procedural due process so much, I mailed notice to the adjoining landowners, and I also mailed a notice to the Creel Township Board of Supervisors, even though we had consents and memoranda in place.
So just for the commission's benefit, the proposed resolution reads as follows, or the relevant parts reads as follows. Based upon the petition of Daniel Jansen and Jean E. Jansen and the information presented on their behalf at the hearing, the Board of County Commissioners of Ramsey County finds that the petitioners have an interest in the adjoining land or a portion thereof. There's a public benefit to closing a portion of the section line to public travel. The portion of the section line has not been used for 10 years, and the portion of the section line is not required due to readily accessible alternate routes of travel, and no drainage is affected. That would be the substantive language that meets the language of the statute. It also outlines the specific portion of the section line as has been covered in the hearing. It's the 1,500 feet from the north-south road west, and has been laid out in the prior hearing and in this hearing. My recommendation to the commission is to accept the petition and pass this resolution as presented.
Thank you, Daniel. Any other questions or comments from the commission?
I would agree with Mr. Hall's assessment. I think they went above and beyond what statutory requirements are. And never something that we want to do or take lightly of closing section lines. And we don't like to make habits of it. So, but I think in this case, it has shown justification for doing so. So I'd go ahead and make that motion to go ahead and accept the petition to close that portion of section line.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second to close section line as proposed in the resolution. Any other questions or comments?
Where's the alternative route? You go to draw under where we're.
It's at 45th Street. It's right there at the bottom of the
Yeah.
street.
Down there. So.
This is with the main alternative route. Yep, I'm sorry. This is not. This is the military road is here. That's the main alternate route. The route that was dedicated to the township begins here, goes north, loops around the north end of the property, and then goes back to the section line on the west end. Okay.
Makes that loop.
Anything else, Bill?
Because this is a piece of history that may I speak to?
Yeah, absolutely.
This statute making section lines into public roads was passed in the Dakota Territory Legislature. Its intent was to facilitate homesteading at a time when, if you read Elwyn Robinson's History of North Dakota, they anticipated that the population density of North Dakota would be the same as Pennsylvania. And every section would have 4 farms on it of 160 acres each. And we needed to get people to be able to get back and forth, to go out and homestead without trespassing on land. And it's kind of a historical anachronism that we still think we need these section lines as public roads, but that's my policy. That's my opinion. But so a lot of the policy behind this and keeping them open, yes, there's reasons to keep some of them open, but there's also not a policy reason to keep this one open.
Right. So we have a motion and a second. No other discussion for the commission. Roll call, please.
Wilhelmie.
Aye.
Bulk.
Aye.
Hodis.
Aye.
Frith.
I,
Gessner.
Aye. Motion carried. This will conclude the hearing then, Mr. Bowling.
Yes, then. I have 2 copies here that I'll give to Mr. Howard, just in case.
In case.
For use, I think. Thank you for your time. and attention.
thank you for doing the due diligence. Great work.
Well, follow the statute.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that when people do.
Well, we'll close that hearing and we'll reopen commission business. I think we're to unfinished business on the agenda. Home rule charter information. I don't know. We started that. I don't know. Is there any updates on that from anyone?
I don't have anything. I believe at the last commission meeting, it was resolved that the posting be made. Is the commission just looking for an update on whether or not that notice has gone out to the public, and if there's any interest from public or private citizens?
I guess that's about where we're at. So it did go out. Candy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I think we
Anybody?
should just use the wording off the previous one and just update the dates, I think. Would that be?
Most likely that's
Yeah.
I will sit down with Candy and we'll get that sorted out and moving forward.
Primary resident tax credit for mobile homes. Lisa's gonna come in. Okay. 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 Land exempt from taxation, that was brought to us last meeting by Beth. We received some information on it. The legislature currently has a resolution to investigate inundated lands and the effects on local jurisdictions.
So we've done some further investigation on this, and it's a mitigation bank, a wetland mitigation bank, to provide credits for landowners who would like to drain some land and mitigate a wetland on stuff that they want to produce on. And it's something through NRCS, Department of Ag, and this Dakota Wetlands Partners is the purchaser of those, that mitigation bank, and then the landowner gets to receive the wetland credits. And so I talked to the landowner, and he felt that it was a very beneficial thing for landowners to be able to use, which I don't doubt that it would be, but where it's located at in our county may not be the best thing to provide a tax, being exempt from taxation. he said it's something that they're doing over in Trail County. And so we need to, in talking with the landowner yesterday, he said he was gonna get with Trail County to make sure that they're utilizing the right form. Because if you noticed on the form, it highlights century codes for tax exemptions. But what they had circled and what they had put forth was a different set of tax exempt statute that wasn't included on that form. So whether or not Trail County is doing it right or wrong, I'm not sure. But I don't know if we were ready to follow that and set a precedence within our county at this time. And talking with the landowner, he said he wasn't in any big hurry to get that straight. He wanted to make sure that everybody did their due diligence and investigations, and he's going to do some digging on his end, and we can do some digging on our end.
I guess I agree. It wasn't something that appealed to me in any way, shape, or form.
Right. So if we could make a motion to table that.
Okay. Motion to table this. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Is the commission looking for something specific as far as what needs to be looked into? Is that a direction to the tax director to make contact with Trail County, or I guess, so I know there's not something I need to do. I just want to make sure what sort of investigation we're looking for here.
Well, I think based on the century code that's circled on there, and you go on the state tax department's website and they have exemption forms.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the form directly off the state site, and it doesn't list any of that century code within the exemption boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not one that fits that category. So I'm just wondering, does that form need to be updated? Is that something that the state needs to do to update that particular form, or is it something that's not being done particularly right in another area?
Absolutely. So would that be something you're asking Ms. Black to investigate?
Well,
But did she say at the last meeting that there was not a form?
That she was aware of that,
Yeah.
is my understanding.
Yep.
yeah,
And I guess she would be able to reach out to I assume the tax directors across the state have some sort of listserv where they can ask questions to each other. That might be the best avenue for research, or easiest avenue for research. So that should this come up again, we would at least know what sort of information we're looking to see. Should the commission be considering this petition one more time, or application for tax exemption one more time?
well, and if you look at that century code that's circled at 570210, it says something about highway projects, road projects.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't pertaining to a highway or road project. This is a mitigation bank selling those wetland credits to other areas. So, and when I contacted the state NRCS office, they weren't aware of any tax exemptions that were available. And he referred me to that Dakota Wetland Partners, and they haven't returned my call yet.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yep.
Anything else? Recommendation from the building security.
Or go back to the primary residence.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Forgot Lisa stepped in here.
Okay,
Just an update. We were supposed to get all our money the end of March for our primary money coming back to us. The state shorted us. I'm still on it. Out of $1 million, over $1 million, they shorted us like $6,069.84. There has to be a reason why they shorted us. I'm still with the state. Maybe it's some combining properties that when we downloaded, it didn't follow through. So we're still waiting for that. But so real estate we had to do by hand. We had 2,177 that we did by hand, refigured them, sent them out to the public. That got kind of iffy sometimes with the public, but we're over that. We're past that. The mobile homes now, we have 79 of them to refund. About 79. I'm going to take back about 5 or 6 of them that qualified for homestead credit. That, of course, they won't get the money, and we didn't download that to the state. Or there was a couple of them that were sold to the mobile home park, so they won't get the money either because the mobile home park paid the taxes. So, going back to what we should pay the mobile home people, I feel that we should give them up to the $500, the consolidated figure, because that's what we downloaded to the state. There is some counties that don't, they think we should just give them the discount of what they paid. But if we go back to the real estate, you got the 500 off the consolidated. So you guys have to make that decision, because to me, we're getting the money back on the consolidated. So I feel that the mobile homes should probably get that consolidated. And we're going to have to cut each of them a check. First of all, find them. Hopefully they're still there. And then cut them each a check and refund them. And March 31st is cutoff, whether you're real estate or your mobile home. You don't get to follow through March 31st, whether you're on, because mobile homes run on a current year. You're still March 31st deadline. You don't go forth. So mobile homes still have to pay their current taxes. And then the following year, so this year, 2025 mobile home taxes don't get the refund check until June of 2026. So they still got to pay their mobile home tax, and then they'll get their refund. But real estate, of course, it'll come off the consolidated on your tax statement, and then we'll get refunded from the state.
Can I add something?
Yes.
That's because mobile homes pay ahead of time.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want me to cut? Well, she just didn't say it. She knows that.
What's that?
Well, no, it's just that anybody that'll get a refund this year is actually because they paid their taxes last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Just so everybody
Yeah.
understands, because
But they have to
mobile homes have
follow
to pay a
through.
year ahead.
Yeah.
Instead of the year at that, get the credit at the end of the year.
Correct. So I'm recommending that we give them the consolidated part back instead of the discount. But that's going to be up to you guys to make a decision.
Can you clarify what that means, Lisa? Like, what's the difference between those two situations?
The consolidated part would be without the discount.
Which would be generally?
How much you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Would be, so I download, or can you help me download? We did 31,483.29 would be the consolidated. And if we did the discount, it would be 30,175.64.
And so per person or per primary resident, that's anywhere a little less than $100 difference, or somewhere around there.
Well, and some of them could have paid with penalty and interest too. So I've got it going both ways. But I figure that if we gave the real estate the consolidated, that the mobile home should be considered the same. And that was going to match out with the money we downloaded.
For future, it'll make it a lot easier.
Yes.
All one way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's just because the mobile homes run on a current year and your real estate runs 1 year behind. So there's the difference in how we treat things.
Like whatever the state is giving the credit back for, that's, if they're giving it on the total amount, that's what they get back. Otherwise, we're skimming off the top.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's not going to make or break here. Like, I mean, we're like,
No, but I mean,
But for
everybody else, I mean, and it's the same for everybody. There's no
Exactly.
questions. You don't have to explain the difference.
exactly. But it was just some counties were doing it different. I mean, I put a email out to different counties and they were all like, we're doing it this way. We're doing it that way. We're doing it this way. I'm like, well, if you're getting that figure back from the state, then we need to balance.
Have you had any conversations with the state offices regarding how they would recommend you?
They recommend the consolidation.
Okay.
Yep. And hopefully there was some people out yesterday that when we downloaded the figure, we were short. So hopefully today we can figure this out because we need to transfer over to Tyler as soon as possible. But I want to get this figured out first before we move on. So we have an uncollected and accounts receivable that match. Yeah, we need to balance.
Okay.
And Kelly, on the other hand, is waiting. I mean, he's patiently waiting. I just want to make sure that we finalize.
I'll entertain a motion that we do all of the refunds on a consolidated basis.
I would so move.
I'd second that motion.
Okay.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Is that
Okay.
what you needed?
Yep. That's
Okay.
all I need. Thanks.
thank you, Lisa.
Okay, recommendation from the Building Committee and Security Committee on office space.
I guess I dropped the ball on this one. I didn't do anything with this one since the last meeting. I got busy with other things. So I have nothing to report on this.
Okay.
I think the plan was we were going to see if the abstract office could get a seat of whatever that software package that you're using. I can't remember the name of it, but underneath our umbrella. I don't know if that is possible or not.
And we have Bev here, the recorder. Maybe she could shed some light on some of those questions, or at least we could ask her here, and at least hear what she has to say regarding what those questions we had last meeting.
I guess as far as a seat under it, I know previously our IT coordinator, the city of Devils Lake, had a seat under it. Our IT coordinator did not like that because they're coming into our server, an outside entity. So if you're looking at the abstract office, getting a seat of that software, we're bringing in an outside entity again into our server. There could be hazards of being hacked on our server is the bad part. We don't run their IT stuff there. I don't know who runs their IT stuff.
So this is something that has to run through our server proper. It's not just a login that goes out to the world.
No, if they want it live, they got to be able to log into our server. Any other questions?
And the fact that we allow public use of it, that's just something we do as a service to the public.
It is actually in Century Code. We got to allow public, it's open records. We got to allow public access.
Okay.
We do not set a limit on how much time they can use on it. Out west, they used to have a limit on how much time each person could use on it. Now that everything is slowed down, they do not have time limits on it. And because they are open records, we can't say no, you can use it, or yes, you can use it.
And just for clarity, Bev, we're treating, or your office treats the servers where you keep all these digital files the same as the physical books that you have in your office. They're all one as far as open records and access from the public's perspective.
Correct. Any other questions?
Do you think having the abstract office is an essential operation of county function?
For our office, we do utilize, go over and speak to them about some different legal descriptions and stuff like that. And we do actually, we've come into question a couple things of documents. They do keep copies or limited copies of documents. We do have to occasionally go over and visit with them about different things, different documents.
So what, just because I'm trying to understand the whole process here, what kind of documents would they have copies of that you wouldn't?
They actually have limited kind of copies of every document that we do. They purchased copies of documents from us. They actually have to have copies to keep on file for their building abstracts.
Okay.
Again, just for clarity, so Ramsey County Abstract has been open and existed here in Ramsey County almost since statehood, if not since statehood. So their records stretch back, are not as complete as your office, but they stretch back that far. And if something has happened as far as damage or just age and wear and tear on the recorder's documents, you compare against what Ramsey County Abstract may have.
Correct.
And then, is there any other abstract company here in Ramsey County that you would be able to do that with, or is
No,
it's just Ramsey County Abstract?
correct. Typically, there's one abstract company within the county.
Okay.
Any other?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess as another private business that uses Andrin, the online version of that versus the software that's in the office here. The software that's in the office here is much easier to search, and you can search many different ways that aren't on Andrin. I mean, that's what Andrin should be, probably. So that DocuPro software is really useful. I guess I don't know if there's ever been a line for, we have two terminals. I don't think I've ever had to wait for one, even with the abstract office using them. So I don't think there's a bottleneck there. And then I guess the other benefit, of having the abstracts complete is that, even with having all the documents electronic now and being able to search them in DocuPro, they're not all indexed the way you would want to search them. So I've had to look up documents by number, like a series of document numbers, which you can't do in Andrin. You can do there. Sometimes you'll find easements that you wouldn't have found any other way. But if you have, the abstract office might have documents recorded to a certain property, or in a file for a certain property that might save you some time searching too. Whether that needs to be in the courthouse or not, I don't have any, I'm not weighing in on that. But as far as that would be the benefit of having that service around.
So as we're having our files indexed, because we're doing that, once we have all these files indexed, then we won't have paper, right? So then there shouldn't be any controversy with them and us. Is that a good understanding or not?
We are running into some documents that we can't find right now. I'm looking for something from Grand Forks County. That it said it was recorded in Grand Forks County, but it was put in our reception record as within our county, the legal description. So I can't see ever really having to get rid of all of our books or anything like that. Right now, we don't currently keep any papers. That stopped in 2011. So we're not adding to the extra papers in our office, but they keep actual paper copies. So like Daniel said, if something would happen, we'd have to rebuild. Say we had to rescan in documents or at least partial documents, we'd have to go to the abstract office.
So
to get copies
my
of that.
question is we're paying for a service to index our files,
Mhm.
not even looking at her side. So what I'm hearing is once we index this, we're still gonna have to keep all our paper files on hand. Wasn't that the point of indexing these so that we have a backup?
Our big books, yeah, we'd actually back up every night we back up. We send actually a mastered file to another server. So if we need that, but to say if there's something wrong, something happens within a document, image is not good. We don't have a paper copy of that anymore. They
We'll always
scan it
have to
in.
keep the paper copies.
As a back, I mean, yeah, that's the point of backup.
Right.
I think the building and security committee probably would have a lot of questions for Bev regarding the recommendation that we would make to the commission. I certainly have all sorts of questions popping into my head at this point that I think we could probably be here for another 30 minutes to an hour covering all those things. But per what Commissioner Wilhelmy started this item with, I don't think we have a recommendation in line for this moment. And so perhaps the commission could direct that committee to reconvene and sit down with Bev in the Ramsey County Abstract Office and have a conversation about how best to protect the county's records and make sure that we are serving Ramsey County residents and real estate and figuring out the best way forward so that we have a backed up record of deeds and records here in Ramsey County and going from there. I'm not sure that putting Bev on the spot and asking her 20 questions right now is the best use of our time.
Okay. So I guess I'd entertain a motion to table this with a timeline that you guys are going to have a meeting so you don't forget. And I get it, dude, because I forget stuff all the time.
You want me to make that motion? We'll table this and we want to pick a date now to get together. Or we want to organize that afterwards, or what are your thoughts, Jeff?
I think organize it afterwards.
Okay. All right.
And then we'll post that.
Okay. Fair enough. Motion and a second, table this. All right, we need a second to table it.
Second.
Motion to table this till next time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. New business, approve homestead credit abatements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the 3 homestead abatements in our packets. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the commission? Okay, I guess announcements before we go into the portfolios. I have a thank you card here from Search and Rescue, thanking us for purchasing radios with our ARPA funds. I also have a letter here that I think I should read. This is from John Bird, Special Agent in Charge, from the Department of Interior, dated we received it on the 24th of March. Sheriff Lang, on March 4th, 2025, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Office of Justice Services, Fort Totten Agency responded to a critical incident involving a double homicide near the community of St. Michael on the Spirit Lake Sioux Tribe Reservation. As our officers, emergency personnel responded and rapidly assessed the emergent situation, surrounding jurisdictions were immediately notified via radio communication that an armed and dangerous suspect remained at large. This communication triggered swift action from law enforcement agencies throughout North Dakota, including the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department. Without awaiting a formal request and without interrupting ongoing emergency response efforts, your deputies responded swiftly and courageously. As soon as they arrived, your personnel integrated seamlessly into the BIA OJS officers and provided essential reinforcement to the limited number of Fort Totten officers and special agents already on scene. Your agency's support proved critical and significantly contributed to the successful resolution of the manhunt, ensuring the suspect's timely apprehension and, more importantly, the safety and security of the community and all responding personnel. Your department's immediate response and unwavering dedication exemplify your staff's commitment not only to the residents of Devil's Lake and the broader state of North Dakota, but also to the tribal citizens of the Spirit Lake Sioux Tribe Indian Reservation. Your professionalism and decisive actions during this demanding operation have greatly enhanced interagency collaboration and mutual support. On behalf of the BIA OJS District 1 office and the Fort Totten Agency, we extend our sincerest appreciation and gratitude to your agency and your personnel for their invaluable assistance during this critical incident. Sincerely, John J.R. Burge, Special Agent in Charge. That was a really nasty incident out there, and I appreciate Sheriff Lang and your deputies receiving a recognition from the BIA. Any other announcements or portfolio announcements?
Planning Commission, we met yesterday, went over the latest draft of the comprehensive plan. It is written differently than the last attempt. It does not go into as much specific detail, probably as the last draft had been back in 2018. The intent being that this is just outlining these are the areas that we wish to address, and each of those will be addressed with their own individual ordinances, one at a time.
Okay.
So a little bit different approach. Hopefully this is better. So we've tentatively planned to have a public hearing for that on April 23rd. I haven't heard back yet for sure if that's going to be the day. We wanted to get something done rather quickly before everyone's world explodes around here until November. So.
Okay. Anybody else? I know some of that legislation is real estate tax reform / whatever they're calling it in Bismarck. A couple of those bills passed. They have to go to conference committee now. I don't have anything for my portfolios. Anybody else?
I don't either.
Law Enforcement Center, those bills were defeated at the state level. So any assistance from the state will probably not be coming our way this legislative session. And so I was directed by the LEC board to go ahead and look into a bonding company. So I contacted Northland Securities, who the county and the city of Devils Lake has worked through. The last bond they did for us was, I think, in the 2010 road for Ramsey County. But the Law Enforcement Center Joint Powers Agreement doesn't give that board a taxing authority or a bonding authority within Century Code. So all that would come back to us here at the county. And I know Walsh County is doing a bonding referendum for their jail May 13th. And they have a price tag of, I think, $42 million on their bond for 20 years, and versus closing their facility and transporting their inmates would cost them something like $56 million.
Over 20 years.
For 20 years, over a 20-year time period. And I think ours would roughly cost us about little over 70 million for inmate transports, if we're doing the calculations correct. And obviously that would increase with number of inmates and wages and things like that, and where we had to transport them to. The other issue with transporting inmates anywhere is the availability of space. Right now, nobody has any availability. Everybody is full to capacity. Besides Lake Regional Law Enforcement Center, there's, I think, 4 or 5 other jails that are looking for funding from the state or doing expansions or complete new builds. And we were one of 5. And legislators thought that there was enough money in the revolving infrastructure loan fund that's available to all cities and counties and municipalities. But I think there's only about $14 million available in that fund. So when you're looking at a $50 to $100 million facility, that's not going to go very far. So, and how do we do that with our taxes, what they are? I mean,
So if we do a bond, would that just go through Ramsey County then, because we're the host county, or were the other counties that are part of the LEC have to do the same thing at the same time?
we would have to work that out within that group. Any larger projects that we've done at the LEC has always been worked on the percentage of usage. In Ramsey County, we've always been hit with a bigger size of that because we utilize the most space for our inmates. And I think it's broken down to about 66% for Ramsey County, and then the 3 other counties in the city of Devils Lake would obviously have a smaller portion of that. But whether or not they would have to, or be in agreement to that, would have to come from their county commissions as well. So as we move forward through this process, it's a learning curve for all of us, I think. And so the individual that I spoke with from Northland Securities was based out of Minneapolis, and so they have a bonding council here in North Dakota, out of Bismarck, that they were going to check with to make sure that everything that's needed and get back with us. I think he was going to reach out to Candy. The auditor's office would be the main contact person for the county, and put a letter of engagement. Doesn't bind us to anything, or George Ellertson, I think is, hey, if I can read his name right. Is the individual that I spoke with yesterday, and he'll be getting with you.
So
But I sent out those videos that we'd taken of the foundation of some of the plumbing from the law enforcement center. We are checking with repairs, what that would take. And anything we do over there is going to be a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
And so, and then when we looked at remodeling, we've been working with that Elevatus out of Indiana. They're the engineer architecture firm. They did a cost study analysis for us on remodeling the facility that we had, and it was anywhere from $18 to $30 million. And we'd gain maybe 13 beds, but they still wouldn't be up to state or federal prison standards. So it'd be really a waste of taxpayer dollars, I think.
So where are you guys in the process of, have you narrowed down the facility at all in the plans or what?
Well, and at first we were looking at a really big facility, 198 bed facility. Obviously, I don't know if that's feasible. So looking at what we can afford, probably, and whether we go to just the size big enough for, the 4 counties in the city of Devil's Lake, or we just go to but even that's looking at 110 bed facility as we look down, the 20-year time period of this facility. So, yeah. So the small one was on the side of, I think, was it 70 million, Brian? And the high range was 98 million. And which is a little strange when we're trying to get some answers from the architect firm, is Walsh County is doing a 48 bed for 42 million. Ransom County, or not Ransom, Richland County in Wapaton is looking at a 230 bed facility for only 58 million. So something doesn't jive there. So I'm not sure exactly. And so the architecture was going to look into what the differences would be and why the big discrepancy in prices. But it's keeping us up at night. And,
Sure.
Between myself and Commissioner Pierce over at the city, a lot of hours spent with the legislative team and trying to come up with ways to fund this thing through the state. And I just don't think that's going to be, the state didn't have a big appetite for it before the revenue forecast, and even less for it afterwards. So, and all we were asking for on that one bill was, on the 1213, was money to be put into the Bank of North Dakota to utilize as a low interest loan. So if we could save 4% on a $50 million bond, would be a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
So
the state didn't, the penitentiary is overflowing and they're sending their prisoners out, and they didn't think they had an issue with a statewide issue.
Well, one of the bills that Representative Freilich introduced was for a $50 million grant to local regional jails, and that got referred to a study. So, and I don't want to exactly say what my thoughts of that study would be. So, but
okay. Oh. So
I just wanted to keep everybody up to date on what's going on there, and that sometime down the road we'll come up with a presentation and let let everybody look at some of the different designs that we have, some of the different parcels of land that we've looked at for locations. And then we'll probably start having some, gonna probably have to have some public meetings because we're gonna have to have public buy-in for this project. And it's something that is bigger than any of us can ever remember. And I think the last time the county had to bond for a building was probably the law enforcement center.
Okay.
And that was 50 years ago, 51 years ago.
So I did miss something here that I should have had the agenda amended for, is the contract for the emergency fix before we can jump into the emergency repair. This was just received yesterday. It was in the packet late. So what this contract is for the switch, replacing the switch downstairs temporarily until we get the new system in place. And that, if I remember right, that changeover was like $230,000 plus that we approved this spring. And then this temporary fix is for $228,000. I know Daniel hasn't had a chance to look at this, but we do need to take some kind of action on this. I don't know what proper action would be. But we
$228,000 Band-Aid before the $230,000 actual fix.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And none of this was
budgeted
for. So, do you think this could wait until the next meeting to get signed, or? Because I really think
Are we reading that? So is it just added into the? Because that's not the way I understood it. I thought just to put a breaker on there was going to be like 18 or 20,000. I thought that was just going to be added to the end result. You know what I'm saying, Billy?
Yeah. That's why
it is something.
That's why we can't.
Doesn't seem right.
Because this isn't the same.
Start over because there's no way we can do a $220,000 temporary thing and then come back and do a $230,000 fix. Something's wrong.
Okay.
I think something's wrong, and I'm not.
Well, this is not the same company.
I know. I realize.
I mean, that's why I'm thinking it's two different things. So I guess I would really.
I mean, at 200,000, at 220,000, I'm more willing to take the risk that you order the stuff and it comes. I don't understand. I don't understand how we have.
No, this is for the completion work of 2026.
I think we're reading it wrong.
Okay.
And you're not an expert at
No,
it.
that's
why we need some clarification.
Installing new main electrical gear and replacing the existing distribution feeders in the courthouse.
which would be, maybe this is just the official bid.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm thinking it's the official bid, and that other thing was just the additional.
Okay.
Gonna be part of this.
Okay.
This, when I was talking to both the people downstairs. That's the way I understood it.
Okay.
And maybe we just need to clarify that with them.
Okay. 'Cause that, it didn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense.
Because I think this is the result of that contract with the
That we had, we went through the whole building.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I think it is too.
oh,
So anyway, I would still like Daniel to look through it before,
Oh,
and maybe
absolutely.
if you wanted to, I guess, why haven't we heard anything about putting in that temporary switch, or not switch, but
Yeah.
breaker?
I think that was with Bergstrom.
Right.
That's why I think it's separate. This was like the bid for the project, and then Bergstrom was gonna give us the,
well, I think this is what Bergstrom came up with, because their name is all in this
Yeah.
contract here.
Yeah, the first line is agreement between Ramsey County and Berkshire Electric.
Oh.
I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of it.
but is that the agreement of them doing this contract?
Well, I thought the engineer contract that we had was like 17,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this one is the one to do actually the work, I think, for that repair. And I think the engineer had given us maybe a rough estimate of that 230, and they come in at 228.
Okay.
And that's just a quick glance through these pages.
Well, like I said, I just want to make sure everybody was aware that we had it and
Yeah.
needed, but I don't want to take any
Definitely
action.
have to ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I hate to say yes to something and no, somebody will $500.
Right.
Right.
Love the letter, I'm trying to go through that. Because that's not how I recognize how they were talking.
Well, I've never heard a price, I guess, of what it was going to take to bypass that temporarily, in my recollection.
Is it Brent we talked to? Was it? Remember, Jeff? From Bergstrom, was it Brent?
Darren. Yeah.
Darren is probably the one that we have to contact and ask for that.
Okay.
He could probably-
And what was the name of that company that had that part? Yeah, like 12 to 18 months to get that part.
Yeah, that's for the whole.
That's for the
diesel,
switch.
not for the temporary thing.
Oh,
The temporary thing was coming from Bergstrom's. They would basically put a temporary breaker in. You know, that had nothing to do with the company.
oh,
Right.
That's where I think
That's where I'm confused.
yeah.
and Darren could clarify that for sure.
Okay. So anyway, just,
No,
I didn't know what to do with it because it's kind of time sensitive, but not time sensitive. But I knew with it just being here yesterday that nobody had the time to really dig into it.
yeah, I think we need to contact Darren on that.
Okay.
Because he'll be able to give us a clarification.
All right. One more shot for anybody in the audience to give up some of their time to speak. If not, meeting adjourned.
Yeah.